Okay, a very good afternoon, our viewers. Today we are blessed. We are having Mhako, and it's my first time to have such an honor to then have someone of his capacity on this show. We have a lot to benefit from what he's going to share with us. And what we can just ask to the viewers is that if you can come and follow our interview. Yes, Nkoma Plot. How are you?
Ngoma Stewie murise.
Ini ndinofara ini. Kuri sei kwamuri ikoko.
Kunoku kuri nani? Kunoku.
No.
Lockdown shit, but otherwise I'm good.
Okay, so how many weeks you guys were in lockdown that side?
Wow, I'm actually losing count. I think already we are past 6 weeks now.
Yeah, it's been long.
It's been long. It's been long. It has been very long.
Okay, so let's get started. You see, what happens in life is that someone can be doing good work for a while, and unfortunately, maybe due to media coverage or some other issues, people might not know all your efforts. So before we can go to all those nitties and gritties, maybe you can help those who don't know you. You are a popular person, but we might have some few people who doesn't know you. You can help us there.
Okay, great. Wow, thank you so much. It's an honor to be on this platform. I'm normally the one who is interviewing people, and for me, it's very humbling to just be a guest on a program, and you're doing, great work. My name is Mhako, and wow, I do so many things. My background is I grew up in Zimbabwe, in Harare, but spent considerable time in Shamva. That's my rural home. So during school holidays, I would go to Musha, and then whenever I was at school, I would be in Harare. And upon completing my high school in 2001, I then started working. I worked for TIA for 6 months, and then I enrolled at the Christian College of Southern Africa for a journalism diploma. And whilst there, then I started working for the central bank. I worked there for 5 years. I was working for a subsidiary of the central bank. And in 2007, I then decided to leave work and start an initiative called Jibileka. And a lot of things started happening from there. And then I got involved in so many projects, and I'm still doing a lot of media work. I'm doing a lot of creative work. I'm doing a lot of social and creative social entrepreneurship work, working in Zimbabwe and also outside Zimbabwe.
Koma Plot, you said you had your good job. At one time you were working in the bank or something to do with bank. But tell us something here. What then drove you to leave aside? Because back then I'm sure our economy was good, meaning to say money-wise you were getting something better. So chii chakakudriva kuti musiye basa renyu ramaita rakanaka mufunge zvekuita maprojects asati takaunyatsombabata edu ese kuma-breaker down, because it's another question yakazomirira. What drove you or what pushed you to leave your work and start all these projects?
Well, I think I would say it was a combination of several things. Because yes, like you've said, plus economy but I would say we're one of the most well taken care of employees in Zimbabwe at that time. And I did not leave work because no. I left work because of a dream, because of a passion, because of a hunger that I had to pursue something that I loved the most, which was the arts. So I had this dream and vision for so many years. But my main initiation was around 1996 when I tried to get into music with a couple of friends that I was doing music with. And then I used to play keyboards then, not really good, but I was starting to learn. And then in my Form 4, at Form 4, I then got to be part of the first Renta National Festival of the Arts. And this is the biggest festival in Zimbabwe, one of the major festivals happening in Africa. So I got to be part of the team there, and for 6 days, what I saw blew my mind, and it ignited sort of a dream that lasted for so many years until in 2007 when I decided to start Jibilika, because I was seeing a lot of talent, but there were not so many opportunities to promote and help this talent, mainly dance talent. So that's how everything started.
Yeah, I can trace back, and I was reading a lot of work which you did. So, Jibilika, when we are reading about Jibilika, it's mentioned that it had a lot of activities within it, something to do with employment, something to do with also conscientizing maybe the youth.
Yes.
When in regard to maybe the pandemic, by then it was AIDS, and there was a part of unemployment, something like that. So you are part of the foundation of that project. Maybe can you help us to then unpack the activities which were surrounding Jibilika? Is it still there?
Yes, Jibilika is still there, up and running. I'm not in Zimbabwe, but the organization outgrew me. So it ceased to just be about me. Now there's a team that is working at Jibilika that runs Jibilika. I'm still there as one of the directors on the board and also helping out. But there is a team that is responsible for day-to-day running. So Jibilika, the whole project is all about it's a platform, it's a hub, it's a youth culture hub that promotes and helps young people that have talents, different talents, from singing, dance, beatboxing, anything that young people are interested in. And we help them gain more skills on how to be self-employed. We also create opportunities for them, opportunities to perform, to tour, and also become professional artists and be able to work in different areas, different facets. And one of our flagship programs is called Step Up to HIV. So this is a program that we've done for the past 6, now almost 7 years. And with this program, the whole focus was how do we reach out to young people with regard to HIV and sexual reproductive health issues, and what message appeals to young people the most. Young people understand each other the most. Young people understand something that comes through with a bit of entertainment in it. So we then devised a program that would speak to these young people about important social issues, about important health issues, but using art forms that they were interested in. So you'd see young people dancing, but at the same time communicating a positive message. We would sit around with young people in communities, form groups, and talk to them about very important issues, substance abuse issues, sexual reproductive health issues, but using stuff and things that they were interested in. And we won an award with that program at the Zimbabwe Hip Hop Awards in 2013. And yeah, but from the project now, there have been other smaller initiatives that have managed to actually pop up and individually run.
What I can say is that you are doing such great work. You see, a lot of people might not know, all this effort, but such platforms like these ones, they help unpack, and I'm sure there's an element of informing those who might not know. But I understand it's not the Jibilika project which you managed to run during your days in Zimbabwe. Besides Jibilika project, are there any other projects which you managed to superintended, which you managed to run before you left Zimbabwe?
Yeah, physically, I left Zimbabwe the past, I've been here for the 3.5 years now, but emotionally and work-wise, I'm still very much connected. My ear is still plugged on the ground. I've started a lot of initiatives whilst in Zimbabwe and also from the time that I came here. Since coming to Germany, I've launched actually 4 projects that I've launched from here. The first one being the Zimbabwe Hip Hop Summit, which I co-founded with Darrell Nyamtsamba, who's based in South Africa, and Amanda Murimba, who's also based in South Africa, and our QS Banda, who's also here in Germany. And we started this initiative with the goal of creating a dialogue platform for young people that are interested in the culture of hip hop. And we did it for 2 years, 2017, 2018. And we also did the Zimbabwe Dancehall Summit, Zim Summit in 2018, which was a success, and we brought together different players in the dancehall music to discuss the future challenges and how to grow forward. And I also co-founded the Skate Zimbabwe project, and we've been running a skate project, and sending skateboards to Zimbabwe from time to time, training young people on the sport of skateboarding. It's now been recognized as one of the new sports at the Olympics. So we saw it necessary also to promote it for sporting, also to promote it for recreational purposes, and just to also engage young people. And I also founded Earground, which is a media project that focuses on the creative narrative from Zimbabwe. So mainly talking about different things that are happening in Zimbabwe: music, dance, theater, you name it, but also creating conversations about important topics and also talking to different creatives that are working in Zimbabwe and also in the diaspora.
So maybe our viewers might not know exactly the location where you are. Maybe before I can maybe check on some of the activities which you are trying to link from Zimbabwe and where you are. Where are you based exactly?
So I'm based in Flensburg, that is far north of Germany. It's at the border of Germany and Denmark. So we're just like 5 minutes into Denmark. And yeah, so this is where I'm based. But before, I've lived in a couple of other towns before.
So how are you managing now? Because I understand you have got projects in Zimbabwe there. And at one time, you also mentioned about the 2 summits, which, usually you try by your best to make sure they run in Zimbabwe. So how are you managing now? We are far from home. We have got 2 summits which are in Zimbabwe. Tell me something. Are you able to frequent Zimbabwe? How often do you go there? Do you go there once per year or once after 2 years? For you to manage these summits done well, how do you manage that?
So I'm quite often in Zimbabwe. On average, at least I go once, but at times I go twice. At times I go 3 times. It depends with the kind of projects that I'm working on. Like last year, we did the Mhako International Festival of the Arts of Dance, which was an international contemporary dance festival, and I had to be there. The previous year, I'd gone twice. So I'm always frequenting Zimbabwe. But now, with internet, with the digital age, it's pretty much possible and easier to actually manage and administer and be involved in projects that are happening in Zimbabwe. And also because there's an amazing team that I work with. They take care of almost everything. And we created systems that help everybody to sort of keep checking what's happening and how things have to happen and the results and if we're making an impact on it.
So in short, I can say somehow you are creating employment to those who are benefiting on the projects which you are doing right now. Mm-hmm. And your offices in Zimbabwe there, where exactly are your offices located? Do you have staff in Zimbabwe there? Since you said it's now easier due to the accessibility of, the issue of technology. Do you have offices there in Zimbabwe? do you have some staff there, some members of your projects who are based on the ground there in Zimbabwe?
Yes, we do. We do have offices at Batanai Gardens, that is corner first and Jason one. And as far as the staff, yes, we do. We have a staff complement of 6 people that are like permanently within the Jibilika
Oh,
organization.
that's great. That's great. You see now, no one was knowing all this, and it's very good. I can comment that one. I salute you.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you so much. And then we have another circle of volunteers and people that come through when we have a project, depending with the resources that we have, depending with the kind of projects that we are working on. We always have people that join the team.
Oh, okay, which is good. And I'm sure this is going to be second from last question. Yourself, considering that our economy is a bit struggling as we speak right now, and much of your focus is under the arts industry. How do you see, the arts industry performing as we speak right now, and what more can be done, maybe so that we don't lose the potential of our future plot Mhako tomorrow? So what can be done under this sorry situation economy-wise in our country?
I think we are in a very, very difficult situation, especially as creatives, for a number of things. Before even Corona, we still had a crisis in our midst in terms of our creative sector. One, I think the major crisis that we have is the crisis of imagination, where we have not been able to really create new imaginations. There are very few that have managed, the likes of Wadio Pamoyo, the likes of a couple of artists that have managed to sort of reimagine the current status. They're the ones that have managed to embrace the future and also create an economy within it. But we don't have an industry. We still have a sector that is struggling because it lacks proper leadership. So there's need for a renewal of leadership, within the arts institutions in Zimbabwe, the arts ministry in Zimbabwe, a leadership that sort of understands the future and the dynamics within the creative industry on a global level, not just in terms of the local scene, because we have so many untold stories, with so many narratives, with so many amazing creatives from Zimbabwe that are working in the diaspora. If you check in South Africa, after every film, you see the names that appear. You always spot 1 or 2 Zimbabwean names there. If you check around Europe, if you check around the States, there are Zimbabweans that are doing super, super amazing things. And a lot of these Zimbabweans cannot flourish back at home. They only have to be able to leave the country for them to start to bloom. So I think there is need for a creation of a conducive environment. But how does this conducive environment get created? I think it starts from us having a strategy, having a vision, a common narrative that we share as Zimbabweans, what we pride ourselves in, what defines us as Zimbabweans, and what sort of narratives do we want the world to see, and what sort of qualities and standards do we set for ourselves? Are we going to continue with awards that are celebrating mediocrity? Are we going to continue with one TV station 40 years after independence? Are we going to continue with just talk and not deliver and not walking the talk? Or we're going to harness the potential and the efforts that young people have in terms of their potential? Because we see it, young people, they're defying the odds. They've set up Chill Sport in Bari and created records and made an impact from a makeshift sport with makeshift equipment without proper training. What if those people are given the capacity, they're trained, they're given skills, they're given resources, there are funds that are veiled from big institutions, from the government that enable them? What if they're able to pay taxes and help the industry grow? So you see, there is so much potential that is there. And I think what people need right now is the direction. But with the COVID situation now, it further worsened the situation because it will take months, if not a year, until once COVID-19 is over, hopefully soon, for artists to start to make business. So artists are going to be hard hit because people are thinking of bread and butter. So the cravings for entertainment might be there, but there might not be enough disposable income to actually spend on anything that is creative, that is entertainment. But what we have in Zimbabwe is untapped potential. But the world sees this potential. We might not see it, we might not appreciate it, but when you see a Zimbabwe going out there as an artist, as a creative, as a producer, the kind of appreciation, the kind of support that they get speaks volumes about the potential that Zimbabweans have if this potential is to be plowed at home and be appreciated and be celebrated with amazing talent. But we don't have good systems, good infrastructure, good leadership. We still don't have new venues in the past 20, 30 years. So there's not been much growth.
So it's after a wider scope of, analysis which you have said. What can be I mean, you guys, you are experienced. You have been in the field for a long time. Are you saying that? If we ask you to maybe have a part which you can play in trying to make all your suggestion work, are you able, or maybe there are some barriers there which restricts you from doing that?
I think we are able. We as a collective, not only me, but other creatives that are also sharing the same kind of vision and the same kind of drive. Because already what we are doing, we have created these online platforms. You have created your online platform. And I think collectively, if all these come together in terms of just pushing the same way that we are pushing, I think ultimately we'll be able to build an industry. Because if you look at Nigeria, they've managed to build a multi-billion-dollar creative industry from film, from music, simply because they believe in their own narratives, in their own sound, their own stories, in their own films. And they connected with the diaspora connection that they had. Nigerians that are living outside of Nigeria, they've managed to plug into systems that are in LA, systems that are in South Africa, everywhere, and utilize this now as a bridge to actually tell their stories on the world, to the world, and be able to monetize off it. Venna Boy, 5 years ago, was performing at a small club in Zimbabwe, a club that fills up with 100, 150 people. But right now, 5 years later, he's filling up stadiums of 100,000 people. So that kind of growth, it speaks of possibilities. Have you had that kind of progression? What could do if today the very same artists that we have at home, the Tammy Moyans, the Enzo Aishas, right, the traditional dance groups in Guru, if they had the capacity to actually tell their stories and perform on a global platform, how many people will be wowed by their performance, and how much will they also benefit financially? But at times it's not worth it for so many artists. They end up pursuing other things because it's not making money for them.
I'm sure today you managed to say a lot of things which even myself I didn't know. I'm sure somehow, even to those people who might not be able to watch us like now, yes, they will as well play this video, and then they can understand the potholes which are in this road in as far as the arts industry in Zimbabwe is concerned. But you talked of Mudiwa Wepamoyo in brief. I saw you interviewing those, the actors who are in the Mudiwa Wepamoyo project. Any comment in brief? Are they doing well? Or how can you comment on Mudiwa Wepamoyo?
That is one of the most beautiful things that have ever happened, not only on the arts, but in terms of Zimbabwean history. It is a testimony of what young people could potentially do, that young people can build through one series, that they can build such traffic within a short space of time, that this series gets at least 150,000 viewership on a single day in 24 hours. That's a milestone. not only in Zimbabwe, but also in terms of in other economies. It's not an easy achievement, especially with the cost of data in Zimbabwe. So that also proves that their content is compelling, that their content is good. Yes, there could be some improvements, but what they've had to put up so far with their own financing, they're not sponsored, they self-finance the whole project. That's the kind of drive that you see from young Zimbabweans. And it's that drive that is craving for space. What they only want is an opportunity. They don't want handouts. They don't want to be spoon-fed. They're saying, look, this is what we could do. But if you give us more space, we could even do more. Imagine if that series was on ZBC, was on ZTN, and it was also on internet. How many people could be reaching out, and how many corporates could be seeing that value? Already we have Mantower endorsed by FC Platinum as a brand ambassador. That speaks volumes. We cannot ignore that. Ignoring that I think it amounts to,
it amounts to treason.
Yeah, I mean, you cannot ignore that. So I think Wadiwa Pamoyo, for me, sort of rekindled my sense of imagination and my sense of pride, and also brought back a lot of nostalgic thoughts and feelings from my early childhood. Yeah.
Okay, so you have got a busy schedule, I'm sure. Mkoma Plot.
Yes.
Wednesday, same time we started this show, we will be having Noku.
Ah, great.
Yes. So
Awesome.
I don't know what advice, or do you have any advice which you can give to this crew? They are just a youthful crew which is doing very well.
Mm-hmm.
With your experience which you are having in this arts industry, I managed to talk to their co-director Debbie.
Debbie, yes.
The guy has got a lot of wisdom, but on top of that, I'm sure you can also benefit from you guys with your experience. We have got this youthful crew. They've shaked the country. Everyone is waiting for every Wednesday to watch each and every episode.
Yes.
What is your advice to them?
I think my advice to them is to stay humble, to always stay hungry, and to keep dreaming, because a lot of the times you find as artists, as creatives, when we get a lot of attention, when fame hits our head, at times that's how we fall, because we also tend to become a bit arrogant. So the only way that they can progress is to stay humble and keep learning. Even the feedback that's coming from people, it's not everything that's coming that's positive. Some are also having feedback that is not so positive, but out of this, there's also some lessons within it. So that's the beauty of internet, that you're able to interact with people and you're able to get feedback. Anamkadota kudhara actor, they would not get that kind of feedback. Feedback wise, you wanna just when people are now imitating what they're doing and when they're writing letters, but it was difficult. It was not real time. It was maybe months later, years later, and then. But right now, we can see Mantawa and the next day, or Biko and the next day, or Noko, and then next day we are able to celebrate them. They can become stars overnight. But to really build a career, I think it takes more. And I appreciate what Debbie is doing, because we saw with the one that he did together with Simka Comment, special class, there's consistency. You can actually see that there's a drive to improve, and you also see how he tapped into the legendary work of Ben Mahaka Tombambo. That kind of bridge is very important. We as young people, as much as we want to go far, we also need to know how things were done in the past. We also need to speak to the elders. We also need to understand how they did things, because yes, there's internet, but the wisdom from the older generation means a lot, and we don't need to ignore that. We need to always constantly check with them, hear from them, share with them. They might not understand how things happen in the digital age, but they have a lot of wisdom that they could pass on to us.
I'm sure you exhausted a lot of questions which I was going to ask you, but the last question before you go, Mukoma Plot, I understand sometime in 2015, many of your followers might not know that in 2015 you had also a greater opportunity. You went to United States of America. So me, I might not say everything because I might miss some of what happened. What made you to go to America 2015, and everything which you did then, was it successful?
Great. So I had the pleasure in 2015 to meet Barack Obama, the former president of the US.
Great.
President.
Great.
I was selected as one of the young African leaders through a program called the Mandela Washington Fellowship Program, Mandela Washington Fellowship. So this program started in 2014, and the US government, through the US Department of State, would look at young emerging leaders that are coming from different facets of the economy, from creatives, business, social, medical, you name it. And they would go through a certain process to be screened, to apply, to go through interviews. And when you're selected, you will travel to the States and spend 2 months, two and a half months, 2 months at a university. So I was at Tulane University in New Orleans, and I got to spend time with 29 young other Africans that were drawn from some countries that I'd never heard of before. And coming back to Zimbabwe, and then it helped enhance my programming and the work that we're doing back home. And the next years, I've got to be a fellow of the International Society for Performing Arts, which is the biggest international network for performing arts. And they have a conference that happens every year in New York in January. And I got to be part of it in 2016 and 2020. Yeah, this year I was in New York again. Now not as a fellow, but as a speaker, speaking before thousands of creatives, directors, booking agencies, and different people coming from different institutions that were discussing different topics, and I was able to share the story of the work that I've done, but also a narrative based on how we can use the performing arts for social impact.
Plot, what I can encourage you, maybe you might have that idea, or if you are yet to have that idea, but I'm sure the journey which you traveled to be where you are today, it's also something good and important to your side. You need to put all this information into your own book.
Thank you.
And that book, I'm sure it is going to be on demand. I don't know how it's going to be, but you have got a lot. We can spend the whole day. I feel honored to talk to such a high-profile person. In my lifetime, I never had an opportunity. You see, what I did is that I'm sure I'm some few months now here and there on my show. Some of the people whom you approach, some of them you see now, they want to know who you, and then they check on your subscription on YouTube. They see that you are yet to be even 100 or 200. Then they say, who are you? But you see now, yesterday, I just called you once. I don't know. You see, I don't know how best I can. Say, your humbleness.
Thank you.
Can you? Can you continue being humble as the way you are right now? The good Lord, you are yet to. The potential which is in you. I'm sure to myself, you are yet to even surpass 50%. You are still far away. I need 1 year to hear of your big institute. I don't know, in Germany there or in Zimbabwe or something like that. can you continue, I mean, with your projects? You are employing, you are trying to do something better to our economy. I tried by my best to exhaust all what I wanted myself. So
Thank
the
you so
viewers those viewers who are seeing, who are watching us right now, and those who are going to watch later on, what are your parting words to them?
Well, thank you so much. I'm very, very much humbled to hear that. And I still don't consider myself as having really made it, because I'm still dreaming for more in terms of impact, in terms of stuff that I want to achieve. But I really appreciate. My words to everybody who's watching is, it's don't let anybody tell you that you can't do anything, because whatever that you can dream of, whatever that you can imagine, you can do it. And I think everything starts from an imagination point of view, because all the projects that I've done was only a matter of imagination. So anything that I could imagine, I could go for it, I could give it a try. And it never came so easy. It will not be easy, I promise you, but it's possible. It's very possible, it's very doable. And because for me, I never danced. I don't dance at all, but I've run 2 major dance festivals in Zimbabwe, and I'm still involved in dance for the past 13 years as a non-dancer. So you can imagine some of the layers that I had to go through to convince the dancers that I want to work with them when I could not even show anything. So even if you have 100 or 20 YouTube followers, Facebook followers, it doesn't make you less as compared to that person who has 50,000. It's everyone who has that million followers or whatever, they started from one. So that one matters, and the way you treat that one should be the same way that you treat the other million. So yeah, thank you so much.
So Mkoma Plot, may you be blessed. What I know is that there will come a time once in a while I will reach out to you. So it's not going to end today. I see you are doing a wonderful job. Each day per week, you are reaching out to Zimbabwean entrepreneurs, those who are in business. You are trying to make their products or services known. You are interviewing them. You are having a very good show on your ear ground, if I can call it correct.
Right. That's right.
My suggestion or my contribution is that can you continue doing that? Our country is still our country needs people who are so determined and who have that long heart. You see now, despite the effect of all these things which are surrounding, we are facing some challenges economically, and you name a lot of aspects. But my own contribution is that you see now, me, I whenever I see you online, I come to your shows, and
Thank you so much. It really means a lot.
there is a punch which I saw. That so
Thank you so much.
my shows, and so please, Mkoma, may the good Lord bless you. I will call you whenever I want.
Anytime,
I want help. And please, the best you can you try to uplift those back home who are having projects and Musanete.
Thank you so much. Well, I really appreciate you and wish you the best, and we'll definitely stay in touch.
Thank you so much.